Alright, so in today's video, I'll be covering another key topic in this fire article here that you see on the screen, going into what would happen or the chain of events that have transpired during an EMP attack or slash a nationwide blackout, right? Because that's going to be the result of an EMP attack. So we're going to speak about how the water and food systems will be affected by this event, right? And the title of this video, I think I want to name it, "The Lord will cut off the whole stay of water and the whole stay of bread," which comes from Isaiah 3:1. That's why I get the inspiration of the title from. I don't know if I'm gonna change it up. We'll see. So I'm not going to scroll down because it's a long article, so I end up writing it. I wrote down that the key points of this article in my journal here. So let's see where I want to start. All right, so boom, check this out. I'm gonna read this, and we're gonna get into some end time prophecies that's shortly to come to pass. So it reads, showing us that in a shit hit the fan SHTF scenario, there are no such thing as friends in humanity, and that everything quickly comes down to the one word: survival. That's true. That's exactly how it's going to be. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many gonna wax cold. People gonna hate one another. They're not gonna show each other any mercy, as it states in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, the 15th chapter. How it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? People not gonna help each other. People not gonna pity each other. People not going to show each other any type of love or hospitality or anything of that nature. And people going to be real selfish during that time, fearing, to be robbed or defrauded, because everybody going to be out for self. So it's, people going to be real reluctant and hesitant to lend a hand or, to help anybody else, because people are trying to get over on each other, So it's going to be very hard to trust even friends or people in general, family members. So everything can go down to survival. It's going to be, survival of the fittest, dog-eat-dog world, etc. But it says bunches of marauding gangs will soon overrun everything and every place that they think might hold food or supplies. And that's right. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and a lot of people gonna come to that mental understanding, to the point where they gonna click up with each other, and by race. They gonna click up with each other by race, and there's gonna be different groups and stuff that come together, and that break into these grocery stores, that break into people's homes, that break into whatever, different types of buildings. It don't matter what it is. If they think that it's some food or something that they could use, some supplies that'll be useful to them, or help them or aid them and assist them in their survival, they're gonna go in it, and they're gonna ransack it. They're gonna pillage it, and they're gonna be breaking the windows, set that motherfucker on fire too. So it says, and with no more rule of law. Why won't be no more rule of law? Because your local PD and sheriff's department, the people that enforce, people that work for the state that enforce the laws of the land. These people gonna be home protecting their own. They're gonna be at home protecting their own and fending for their own family. So, as it says in the scriptures here, let me pull out my apocrypha, because the scripture came to my mind when it said no more rule of law. Let's go to 2 Esdras chapter 15. Chapter 15 and verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power." So it's going to be sedition among men, right? Sedition. Sedition, it says, conduct or a speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch, right? They're going to rebel against the authority of the state or the authority of the government itself, right? It's going to be like the purge. So people are going to be invading one another, meaning breaking into each other's houses. They shall not pay homage or reverence or obey the law, right? The kings and the princes, those are your different government officials, your politicians, such as the mayor, the governor, president, whatever. I mean, the whole judicial system, in itself is going to be, null and void during that time anyway. So it says the course of their action shall stand in their power. So they're going to be able to get away with crime and violence. That's all they're saying. So it says, and with no more rule of law, they'll be stealing and killing everything in their paths, including shooting their own neighbors for a bottle of water or a piece of fruit. That goes into this prophecy here. You go down to 19th verse. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, meaning the sword is a modern day gun, and spoil their goods. That's what it means. They're going to be it says shooting their own neighbors for a bottle of water, a piece of fruit. The pieces of fruit or water or food in itself is going to be a hot commodity during that time. It's going to be a very valuable resource because it sustains life. It's going to be very hard to come by because a famine is going to be going on. A lot of people are going to be starving to death. So people are going to be robbing each other for that and killing each other. It's going to even come to death, fights to the death over food, over goods, over resources. It says because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So the lack of food on a nationwide scale, poverty, or since people don't have it, is going to incite them to take what they need from others, no matter what, no matter who that person is, family member, neighbor down the street, kinfolk, cousin, nigga that you don't even know but he from your city. Hey, all hell gonna break loose, man. All hell gonna break loose, man, and people gonna rebel against the government. It's an insurrection, violent uprising against an authority or government. That's right, it's gonna be insurrections, man. Civil war. Gonna be a great uprising, a great rebellion, right? People gonna have their way out here, man. And I'm telling you, man, it's gonna get very grimy out here, man. Like these movies that we see that kind of depict how the future could be, you know, according to what the Lord said it would be, according to the prophecies, and you know, that pales in comparison. You know, that can't compare to how it's actually going to be. People gonna get kidnapped. There's gonna be sex trafficking going on. There's gonna be a lot of raping going on. There's gonna be a lot of gruesome murders happening. People getting their body dismembered. A lot of torture going on. It's gonna get real bloody out here in these streets, man. If you ain't got the protection of Yahweh through his son, Yahweh Shai, you know, the powers of heaven, the God of Israel, your ass is grass, man, pretty much, because only through the Lord you'll be able to have a hedge of protection, you know, and only, you know, the angels are going to be able to protect you, because, you know, the angel of the Lord encampeth around about them that fear him and deliver them, right? Only the angels can keep you safe, because it's going to be angels that's sent to save and angels that's sent to destroy. If the Lord numbered, you know, allowed the angels, you know, to kill you, or basically like your soul is among the ones that's among the multitude that's going to be numbered, you know, to, you know, the Lord's wrath, it's nothing that you can do at that point, you know. You should have repented. You should have came back to him while you have the liberty and freedom to do so now in this grace period that we in. But a lot of people, they lack understanding when it comes to this time, and you know, and they're not they don't have a spirit of belief, and they think that this is a joke, and they think that it's going to come many, many, many years, and really a lot of these niggas think that it's not even going to come in their lifetime. They're going to be dead and gone before these prophecies come to pass. Or they deceived, man. Satan deceived their hearts. Their hearts is full of darkness, man. And it's going to happen in their lifetime. It's going to be way, way, way sooner than they think. Possibly 2025, 2026, man. Could be the year. It could be the year. Hopefully it is. Because America got to fall, man. The wickedness is getting too out of hand here. All the evil things that the people is doing, all the rebellion against the Heavenly Father and his righteousness, the rebellion against his son, the rebellion against us, their representatives, you know, their servants, you know. Hey, the Lord got to do something, man. And we patiently waiting on it. We waiting for the Lord to move, but by number have he numbered the time, by measure have he measured the times. He have not moved nor stirred them till the said measure be fulfilled. So we on his time. But the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, that some men count slackness. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, these prophecies gonna come to pass, and his long suffering gonna have an end. And these people gonna be met with the grim reality of these prophecies, man. Come to pass real time. A lot of prophecies already coming to pass. But all it takes is this EMP attack, man. That's all it takes. People gonna find themselves surrounded in full-blown hell and chaos, man. And they gonna have no justice, nobody to come to help them, because it's gonna be a societal collapse. The government ain't gonna be able to do shit for it, especially these women. These women gonna be in the most trouble out of everybody, women and children and old people, but mainly women, because they weak and vulnerable, right? So it says a false flag event could be staged by the government. You know what? I'm gonna jump down here. Let me jump down and get to the point. Let me jump down and get to the point. Let's go. Alright, so electrical power is necessary to support other critical infrastructures, including supply and distribution of water, food, fuel, communications, transport, financial transactions, emergency services, government services, and all other infrastructures supporting the national economy and welfare. So the EMP attack happens, blackout happens, that's going to affect all of this stuff. People going to be up shit's creek, man. If a big part of electrical power be lost for an extended period of time, the consequences are likely to be catastrophic, and many people may ultimately die for the lack of basic elements necessary to sustain life in dense urban and suburban communities. In fact, such impacts are likely. Water infrastructure. Water and its systems of supply is a vital infrastructure. That's right, it's a vital infrastructure. It's a vital infrastructure. EMP can damage or disrupt the infrastructure that supplies water to the population, agriculture, and industry of the United States. That's facts. Before we get this precept, let's go down here to what I pulled up. I think this is it, right? Yeah, so it says water is an essential. I looked this up. It says the essential uses of water in our society. It says water is an essential for human survival, playing a vital role in our daily lives through its use for drinking, sanitation, bathing, cleaning, cooking, growing food, which is irrigation, producing energy, hydroelectricity, and maintaining healthy ecosystems, making it a crucial component of society across all sectors. Key uses of water in societies: domestic, drinking, cooking, cleaning, bathing, washing clothes; agricultural, irrigation of crops; livestock, watering; industrial, manufacturing processes; cooling systems; recreational, swimming, boating, fishing; environmental, maintaining healthy ecosystems, supporting biodiversity. So when the Lord smite America's water supply, and really the world for that matter, because the place is going to affect the earth, but mainly here in America, Babylon the Great, modern Babylon, modern Egypt, modern Sodom, the place of great wickedness, the place of great evil, the place of great rebellion. The most evil people on the planet live here. So when the Lord cut off the food supply and the water supply, all these things, and people that's necessary in society is going to be affected, and the people gonna feel that shit. They're gonna be affected, man. They're gonna be affected, man. It's gonna get bad out here. It's gonna get horrible. Let's get this prophecy here real quick. Isaiah 3:1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. Let's get another translation to go into what that word stay really goes into. This in the NLT, the word, it said the Lord of heaven's armies will take away from Jerusalem and Judah, which is the northern and southern kingdom of the Israelites, which consists of the 2/3 of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Everything they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water. So food and water is what people essentially depend on. And if you look up this word to depend, right? People depend on food and water, and this is what the Lord's going to cut off. To be controlled or determined by. And the people of this society, especially Jacob, the 2/3, they're controlled their mental well-being, their mental state, their livelihood. Everything is controlled and determined by food and water. That's the glue that's keeping this society together. Because you X that out, you cut that out, this society gonna turn from sugar to shit real quick. I promise you that. So people rely on these things because it's essential. It's vital. And guess what? The Lord said, He doth take away. The Lord is going to take away, right? The thing that they depend on and rely on the most, food and water, man. I tell you, man, it's going to be the worst famine that the world has ever seen before. So it says, by disrupting, going back to the article, by disrupting the water infrastructure, EMP attack could pose a major threat to life, industrial activity, and social disorder. So that shit gonna cause chaos. Denial of water can cause death in 3 to 4 days, longer than that, depending on the climate and level of activity. I mean, that is true, depending on like the temperature and stuff. But that's a horrible way to go out, though. That's a very horrible way to go out. As it states in Lamentations 4 and verse 10, it's better to be slain with the sword than to die of hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field, right? And God also goes into 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22 through 24, especially in 24 verse when it says that the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. I worked at a water treatment plant. I worked at a water treatment plant, a treatment facility before, and that's a vital part of society. Like it's an essential job, like for real. And that's just very important that that the water gets treated, and that even like dams and shit work. But the Lord is gonna cause a drought, man. The Lord's gonna dry that water up. Why? Let's go here. Psalms 107 and 34. It's in the NLT. It says, He turns the fruitful land into salty wastelands because of the wickedness of those who live there. So the Lord is going to turn the fruitful land of America into salty wastelands because of the wickedness of those who live here. You see how that makes sense now? So the Lord's going to dry it up. The Lord's going to dry up America's water supply. All right? Because of all the evil and the wickedness that takes place here in Babylon the Great. All right? This Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 38. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Right? So idolatry is heavy here in Babylon, right here in America. Idolatry is heavy, and such as all types of religions, like all the religion that you can think of is here in America, man. Buddhism, Christianity, Catholicism, all different sects of that, Islam, the Muslims religion, et cetera, et cetera. Even, the African gods, African idols, the Hindu idols, all that shit, people worship here, man. All right? America's a land of graven images, false gods, false idols, right? So the Lord, to combat that pride and sin and transgression and rebellion against Him, which is the true and living God, the true and living God is going to dry up the waters. He's going to cause a drought, man. The springs of the fountain shall stand still. It says people are likely to resort to drinking. You know what? Let's go to Haggai real quick. Let's go to Haggai chapter 1 in verse 11. So it says, and I call for a drought upon the land and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground brings forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hand. See? So the Lord's going to disrupt the water supply to the infrastructure, that applies to, the agricultural industry, right? So ain't gonna be no new produce. That shit gonna be dried up. These farmers, they gonna be fucked up out here. These crops, they ain't gonna grow. It's the work of the Lord of hosts, man. So continuing on, it says, people are likely to resort to drinking. Let's see. Let me go back up here. Let me get this. I had this set up here. It says people are likely to resort to drinking from lakes, streams, ponds, and other sources of surface water. Most surface water, especially in urban areas, is contaminated with waste and pathogens that could cause serious illness if consumed. If water treatment and sewage plants, which I worked at before, cease operating, the concentration of waste in surface water will certainly increase dramatically and make the risk of consuming surface water more hazardous. See? So that's going to add to the pestilence, right? Because famine and pestilence kind of, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's like a package deal, when it comes to the wrath of the Lord, the plagues that Heavenly Father sends, man. So all you got to type in here in the search bar is famine and pestilence. Let's see if we can find a good one. Ezekiel 5:17. That should be a good one. Ezekiel 6:11. Let's get that one. It says, "Thus says the Lord God: Smite with thine hand, and stamp with thy foot, and say, Alas, for all the evil abominations of the house of Israel." So the evil abominations is the evil actions, the works that our people do. Black culture, people these niggas out here, they're gonna get vengeance brought upon them because they partake in black culture, man. And it's this westernized way of living. They're gonna have to answer for that. It's gonna be consequences for living like an evil nigga. For they shall fall by the sword, by famine, and by the pestilence, right? The sword can come in many forms, man. The Civil War that we spoke about earlier, just violence in general, war, and martial law, right? It says, and by famine and by the pestilence, right? So famine and pestilence kind of goes hand in hand. So a lot of people gonna drink from these lakes and streams and ponds and surface water, and they're gonna catch diseases, grievous diseases based off of that, man. Demoralization and deterioration of social order can be expected to deepen if a water shortage is protracted. Anarchy will certainly loom if government can't supply the population with enough water to preserve health and life. That's facts right there. That's facts. I'm going to read this through real quick. Food infrastructure. An EMP attack that disrupts the food infrastructure could impose a threat to life, industrial activity, and social disorder. Absolute deprivation of food on average can greatly diminish a person's capacity for physical work within a few days. After 4 to 5 days without food, the average person will suffer from impaired judgment and have difficulty performing simple intellectual tasks. After 2 weeks without food, the average person will be virtually incapacitated. Death typically results after 1 to 2 months without food. Social disorder likely would decay if a food shortage were protracted. A government that cannot supply the population with enough food to preserve life and health could face anarchy. That's facts. These are facts, and it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. Let's get into these precepts here. So this is Ezekiel, the 4th chapter, and 16 says, "Then he told me, son of man, I will make food very scarce in Jerusalem. It will be weighed out with great care and eaten fearfully." There's rations. The water will be rationed out drop by drop. The people will drink it with dismay. Lacking food and water, people will look at one another in terror. They will waste away under their punishment. See, and you look up the word. What does it mean to waste away? Waste away. It says definition of waste away. If someone wastes away, they become extremely thin or weak, right? Because they are ill or worried that they are not eating properly, right? Not eating properly. The famine is going to cause people to waste away, right? They're going to become extremely thin and weak. Scripture perfectly goes into that in the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 9. I get verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaved to their bones. That's becoming extremely thin. It is withered. It has become like a stick. This is becoming skinny, right? Because of the famine. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away. That's wasting away, right? Stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So people out here going to resort to cannibalism, man. They're going to resort to cannibalism because they're not eating properly. That's the famine. Let's get this. This Proverbs chapter 10, verse 3 through 5 in these different translations says, God won't starve an honest soul, but he frustrates the appetites of the wicked. This is KJV. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he cast away the substance of the wicked. The Lord, this in the New American Standard Bible version, right? NASB 1995 version. The Lord will not allow the righteous to hunger, but he will reject the craving of the wicked. The Lord, New Century Version, the Lord does not let good people go hungry, but he keeps evil people from getting what they want. And a lot of evil people, their appetites is not going to be satisfied, man. They're going to resort to eating their own shit, their own piss. They're going to be eating themselves, man. People going to resort to eating shit that they never thought that they would eat. They're going to be eating their family pets, the hamsters, the gerbils, the ferrets, the turtles, the fish, the dog, the cat, whatever they got. They're going to eat that motherfucker, man. They're going to cook them. They're going to cook it, right? The beast, the animal. People going to be eating all types of crazy shit, man. People going to be eating leaves and bushes, grass and stuff, man, it's gonna get to a point to where people gonna crave meat, and they gonna eat each other. People gonna get kidnapped and get their body parts sawn off for the pleasure and to appease the appetites of others. So evil people, they gonna starve. But the servants of the Lord, he not gonna allow them to go hungry. And there's multiple promises, many promises in the scriptures that pertains to the righteous being delivered from the famine, being provided for, being taken care of. And all the things were written aforetime, written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Look at Elijah during the time of the famine. The Lord commanded the ravens to feed him, and he had a clean brook of water that he drunk from. So the Lord had birds he had food and drink. He was a prophet. He was a servant of the Lord. So the Lord made sure he was sustained and he looked out for him. But for everybody else, they suffered, man. So the benefits of serving the Lord is going to have a huge payoff. The serving the Lord is going to have a huge payoff, and the benefits is going to really show themselves when this time comes, man. Those going to make sure we straight. But we have to trust in that. You have to trust in that. In him, rather. So, I think that's all I got, man. That's all I want to touch on. I was going to cut off the food and water supply real soon.